with us today. We'll have other members both here and remote, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, I'm Councillor Alf Kelly.
Councillor Jim Flynn. Councillor Gordon Forrest.
Councillor Nimmo, just introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. Councillor Alan Nimmo, Councillor for Grangemouth.
Thank you. Now we go to officers attending.
Thanks, Convener. I'm Douglas Blythe, legal advisor to the committee.
Jim Miller, Committee Services Team Leader.
Gemma MacArthur, Committees Services.
Harley Tolan, Graduate Democratic Services.
Julie Seidel-Gregory, Planning Officer, Development Management.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Well, a warm welcome to this Falkirk Council Planning Review Committee. A meeting above has been held in Grangemouth Community Education Unit, 69 to 71 Abbots Road, today, Wednesday, the 18th of September at 12 o'clock. In accordance with Section 43 of the Local Government in Scotland Act 2003, it has been directed that this meeting will be conducted in such a manner as to allow remote attendance by elected members. The meeting will also be live streamed. First of all, in the first part of the business is apologies, but we're here, so there's none intimated. Takes us to item 2 on your agenda, which is declaration of interest. Members should declare any financial and non-financial interest they have in any item of business at the meeting, identifying the relevant agenda item and the nature of the interest. Have we any declarations of interest at this time? No, none intimated. Fine. That takes us to item 3, which is the Planning Review Committee procedures, and I'll hand you over to our legal advisor, Mr. Douglas Blythe. Thank you, Douglas.
Thank you, Convener. The procedures are laid out at pages 2 to 6 of the agenda. I don't propose to go through them in detail. I'll just try and summarise those as best I can. This is a review of an officer's delegated decision. The procedures for such reviews are governed by the Scheme of Delegation and Local Review Procedure Regulations 2013. And so any process that is carried out is carried out in accordance with those regulations. This is the first task for for members is to assess whether they have sufficient information to conduct a review and make a decision, and if so, they can proceed to do that. Failing which, they can carry out further procedure, namely further written representations, site visits, either accompanied or unaccompanied, and 1 or more hearing sessions. I would just point out to the two members that, in accordance with the applicant's review statement at page 13, when asked for their suggestions about any further procedure, they did suggest that a site visit to the existing agricultural holding would be beneficial, as would a hearing session on the viability of the current operation and the need for a dwelling house to serve an agricultural worker. So it's just so members are aware of that when they decide whether any further procedure is necessary. As with any planning decision, it's to be taken in accordance with the development plan unless material considerations suggest otherwise, and it's a matter for members to balance and weigh applicable policies and reach a decision. I'll in due course will pass over to my colleague, Mrs. Seidel-Gregory, who will be able to give a background to the application and the review. Thank you, Convener.
Okay, that takes us to item 4, which is erection of agricultural workers' dwelling house at land to the northeast of Ivy Cottage, Lathallan House, Madison. It's pages 7 to 481 on your agenda papers, and we'll pass over now to Julie Seidel-Gregory, who will give us an overview of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. This application relates to the construction of a single-storey detached dwelling house in open countryside to the south of the A803. The application site fronts an access track to Lathallan House and consists of fields which are used for grazing. The proposed house would sit adjacent to an agricultural building, which was the subject of a recent prior notification. The application submission, including the submitted drawings, are at pages 46 to 59 of your papers. This application is justified on the basis of being required to house an agricultural worker, and the submitted labour requirement assessment is at pages 32 to 35 of your papers. In the course of the application, one representation was received from Polmont Community Council as detailed at page 99, and your attention is drawn to the consultation responses from the Roads Development Unit, Scottish Water, Environmental Protection Unit and the Council's Flooding and Drainage Team, which are detailed at pages 84 to 98 of the papers before you. The Council sought professional advice in relation to the rural justification, and the consultation response from WSP is at pages 71 to 83 of your papers. The notice of review and the associated documents are at pages 10 to 45. The statutory development plan comprises National Planning Framework 4 and the Falkirk Local Development Plan 2. The committee should note that NPF 4 was adopted on the 13th of February 2023 and replaces NPF 3 in Scottish planning policy. The transitional arrangements for NPF 4 until adoption of a new local development plan directs that local development plan land allocations are maintained, but where there's any incompatibility between provisions of an NPF 4 policy and provisions of the LDP, whichever is the later in date will prevail. This means that NPF 4 takes priority in any cases of conflicting policy at this time. The LDP spatial strategy shows that the site is not allocated for housing and is in an area designated as countryside and greenbelt. NPF 4 should be read as a whole. However, there are a number of policies which your attention should be drawn to, including Policy 1, Tackling the Climate and Nature Crisis, Policy 3, Biodiversity, Policy 5, Soils, Policy 8, Greenbelt, Policy 16, Quality Home, and Policy 17, Rural Homes. Your attention should also be drawn to LDP policies PE 14, PE 15, PE 19, PE 25 and HC 05. There is also Falkirk Council supplementary guidance which may also be of relevance to the assessment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Julie. I'd like to open it up now to members. Councillor Forrest.
Thank you, Convener. I would like to move that there's a site visit for this, as per the request from the applicant, and the fact that it can't be seen, the whole thing can't be seen from the main road, etc. And I think it would give the committee a better understanding of the site.
I would agree with that, and also the applicant had stated about the site visit. But I would totally agree that I think this needs a hearing as well. Gives everybody an opportunity to state their case, and once we've had an opportunity to see the physicality of the site, we're all better placed. So I'm happy to second your motion, Councillor Forrest. Are you going to include the site visit plus hearing?
Absolutely, thank you.
I'll second that. Right, I'll open up to other members. Councillor Kelly.
Happy to agree.
Agree. Councillor Nimmo.
Yeah, I'm happy with that decision, Convener.
Okay, that's fine. So just to go back to Mr. Blythe, just to clarify exactly what the decision is. Thank you, sir. And also to clarify the fact is that when we go on site visits, it's usually unaccompanied, but because of the health and safety issue, and I'll go over to Mr. Blythe, he'll explain it. Thank you.
Thank you, Convener. I think if we deal with the site visit aspect first, and you're absolutely right that these are usually either unaccompanied, in which case the committee would simply notify the applicant that they were intending to visit the site, or accompanied, in which case and in those circumstances it's usually to allow access and for health and safety, as you suggest. And I think that's certainly the suggestion in the applicant's review statement. There's also the suggestion that you visit the existing agricultural operation, as well as the the application site, and I think they're remote from each other. But I think the suggestion is that they are tied together. So I think if committee are happy for an accompanied site visit to those two locations, and we can make arrangements with the applicant to facilitate that. I would just reiterate that despite the fact that it is accompanied, that's not to be seen as an opportunity for the merits of the case to be discussed. It's really is just for the physical characteristics of the site to be reviewed, and for any clarification necessary on site. The other aspect was the hearing. And in terms of the regulations, any hearing has to be on specified matters. And I wonder if members would care to just elaborate on what matters they would like to hear about. I think from the applicant's review statement, it does suggest that we hear evidence on operational viability and legal requirements around farm animal welfare. I wonder if members would like to hear about the existing and proposed operation of the application site in the context of the existing overall agricultural business.
Yeah, you're totally correct. I think we've got to ensure that members take a decision based on facts. And obviously, if there is any justification in relation to the documentation that's been presented by the applicants and the applicant's agent in terms of the evidence that would require a decision if members were so inclined to approve.
I'll just also make the point, convener, that there's quite a lot of information on the viability, etc., of the operation in the papers. So I think the hearing would be an opportunity to expand on that.
Yeah, exactly. You happy with that, Councillor Forrest? Yeah, everybody else happy?
Thank you. Absolutely, convener.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Okay, so you just want to clarify the decision then for the minute? Thank you.
Thank you, convener. It's just to clarify that the committee is minded to carry out an accompanied site visit to the existing operation and the proposed application site, and thereafter to hold a hearing on the specified matters as previously outlined, and we'll try and coordinate those two processes so that there's as little delay as possible.
I think it would be beneficial when members are here, as that obviously we've got a really busy schedule coming up with PDHs and local review bodies. We've also got a number of site visits on the 30th of September, and I think because there's a hearing aligned with this site visit, that what we could do is, if members were happy, is that we could go out and site in the morning and then come back and then deal with the matter there and then, if members were happy with that. On the day, that's it. You could, if the officers could look into that. Okay. Okay then. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody for taking part, and look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you.
Thanks, convener.